All right, so welcome everyone into this webinar. This is an introduction to the Digital Delivery Management, or DDM for short, accreditation scheme. So we're going to use the terms DDM quite a lot throughout this webinar. So you just have to take note that it's called the Digital Delivery Management, and it's about an accreditation scheme that we have for the built environment. So in here with me today are my colleagues. We've got Junkit from BCA, and we've also got William, who is the president of Building Smart Singapore, which is the accreditation body for this scheme. So we are going to start with William running us through an introduction, and then we'll have Junkit speak a little bit about the Skills Future framework, and then I'll take you through the details of how the accreditation scheme works. So just take note that this meeting is recorded, and of course we are recording it just so that we can put it up on the website, and other people who are interested in this accreditation scheme but were not able to make it today will still be able to view it at a later time. And of course, one big advantage of you being here today, right now, with us, is that we can say silly stuff to each other. No, I'm just kidding. You can ask any questions you want. This is the time for you to set the agenda. If you have any questions, or you want to bring the conversation in a certain direction, we want to welcome you to do so. So, all right, so let's just have William to get the ball rolling with the introduction to the DDM accreditation scheme. William, please, over to you.
The program outline. I'll be giving a short introduction to the DDM, followed by an overview of skill framework by JK from BCA. And then Vanessa will take on from there, running through the objectives and overview, as well as the instruction for the registration process. And after that, we do the Q&A. And we need a bit of a feedback form as well. Yep. Great. All right. So from this, I guess most of you are working in your various respective company. I'm not sure most of you are aware of the so-called Singapore's digital roadmap. I just like to highlight here a bit so that you know what's actually coming. All right, we started off all the way back from 2000, right? We have this BIM, and then we move on to VDC, and then currently it's the IDD. Of course, after that, there are a series of initiatives with the think tanks and all that, reinforcing or planning what to do next. Okay, so in the meantime, we actually have launched the INPQS late November last year, and as well as there's a moving of this CDE standard, which we feel is very key moving forward. We also have launched the track tier 2 and 3 of DDM, which Vanessa will highlight this later. And of course, moving forward, the CDE standards will be enhanced, and later on we will actually beef this up. At the same time, the ISO 19650 and the IFC is more or less recognized as a game changer for what we are supposed to do. And ongoing now is we're developing the IFC SG, excuse me. And that has an implication on your auto plan checker, which again will have implication when we launch the Connect X in the year 2023. Okay. So this is a snapshot of the so-called the digital roadmap. So realizing this, most of you will be involved in one way or another. Running on track, again, we have the PVVC and the IDD Green Mark as well as the IFM. So all these are ongoing initiatives. I'm quite sure most of you will be able to be involved in one way or another. Now, we actually have looked at this so-called development, and we realized that this so-called digital transformation are so-called bounded by a few pillars. So what we call pillars, right? So one of them will be your system, software, hardware system. The next will be your workforce skill sets, right? You need people with the correct skill set to manage the hardware, software, as well as the system. And of course, we need to have integrated workflow and processes, right? As you know, from design all the way down to FM and handover for the facility management. What we feel key is that we require probably standards, right, in order to make all this work together. Example will be for your software, we're talking about interoperability problem. One way to overcome this is by using IFC standard. That's why now the IFC SG is on track in order to resolve this. As far as workforce is concerned, you need to have a lot of training, but after training, what happens? How do we know that who claims to be a so-called coordinator or modeler or BIM manager? How can we assure to, especially for employers, to be assured that they have employed the right person? You know, they are expecting to employ a BIM manager, but end up he can only do some coordination role, right, or vice versa. So that's where standards come in. We have to have a standard for accreditation in order to benchmark the skill sets of everybody. So likewise for integrated workflows, right, or the various stages from design all the way to construction. Digital twin has been a very common term, but how to manage digital twin all the way downstream, right, is going to be a key. So currently we are looking at, in fact, developing a CD standard in order to manage that. So of course, for today, we are looking basically on the accreditation, but this is just to give you a snapshot, and I'm quite sure for those who are involved in the digital delivery, right, they will agree that these are very key. Okay. All right, career path in the Singapore built environment, right? With that so-called, we realize the importance of digital delivery becomes a career path, and SkillsFuture have actually identified this and earmarked it as a career progression. Right, later on, Vanessa will touch more on this, but however, what I'm trying to highlight here is that this so-called career path mapping allows horizontal so-called movement. That means people who are in some of these other tracks, namely the architects and engineer, if they're actually good in digital, they can actually come in and join the digital track as well. Not only that, this also open up for people outside of this industry, outside of the built environment industry. They also can come in. Of course, they will probably have to come in at the lowest tier, and hopefully from there they can move themselves up from tier 4, 3, 2, and 1 upwards down this chain. So what I'm trying to tell you that all of you here are actually can consider this as a new career path in the digital delivery, right? So hopefully I give you a very quick intro into this digital delivery management track. And now probably I'll pass on to JK from BCA to give you an overview of the skill framework, right, for our built environment. So JK, you take it from here.
Yep. Thank you, William, and good afternoon, everyone. I am Jun Kit from BCA. So I'll jump right in to provide an overview of the skill framework for the built environment, which William has briefly shown in his last slide earlier. So this skill framework for built environment, or SFW for BE in short, was launched at IBEW, International Built Environment Week, just last year. And the intention is to provide a clear information on the sector, on our B sector, the wages, and outline some of the career pathways and skills requirement in the B sector. So if you have been working in the B sector for a while and have been wanting to find out more about something like design attributes or skills in demand in the sector, or what are the common job roles, and what are the possible vertical or lateral career progression pathways, or what are the skill sets or competency that you need in order to progress and chart towards a career path that you have identified. This skill framework will be useful for you. So it contains all the information, the details information of all this, and you can download it easily by scanning this QR code, and it will direct you to the SkillsFuture and the BCA website to get a copy of this. So this skill framework was also co-developed by more than 150 organizations. So this comprises TSC-led work groups, our procurers, and also our BE firms. So we want to make sure that whatever is inside these skill frameworks is a collective ownership of skills needs from all these organizations and the wider B sector. And also we want to ensure its relevancy to the industry. Yep. Next slide, please. Should I control the slide? Okay, yep, thank you. So you may recall that prior to this skill framework, some of you who have been in the B sector earlier, joined the B sector earlier, you will have agreed that there was less emphasis on skill recognition and also a lack of common skills benchmark for upskilling, for progression, and for remuneration. For example, only architecture and engineering discipline have professional registration. But for other disciplines, like facility manager, for example, there are some voluntarily accreditation scheme offered by their TACs, but the take-up rate for most of them are fairly low, likely because the skill requirements and the rigor of the assessment are not rationalized across and within the discipline to a large degree. So this leads to some inconsistency in the quality and some misalignment between the buyers and the employers' needs. So these skill frameworks, it aims to bridge this gap by providing a common skills language for talent attraction, retention, and development, and also providing benefits for users or various stakeholders. So in this slide, you can see, like, for example, for procurers, they can now procure service based on the project team competency. And the advantage of this is to better differentiate between quality and reduce emphasis on fee competition. And for employers, this benchmark will be helpful for them to provide a competitive remuneration and progression to attract and retain more talents. And for individuals like all of us here today, with this skill framework in place, we will be able to be equipped with the knowledge to make better and more informed decisions to progress through deep skilling or multi-skilling across the sector. And also we can actively upskill the different ITM focus area, because we know that if we want to go towards this career pathway, this set of skills is what is required. So all these are provided very clear in the skill framework. And so with that in mind, I just wish to summarize that the DDM accreditation scheme, which Vanessa will be bringing you through shortly, serves to complement this skill framework, which was developed to validate the skill sets and competency identified, and also to provide progression pathways for the professions. So now over to you, Vanessa.